live, I think. Maybe. Okay. So let's give people a few minutes to roll in, right? I'm trying to stay warm over here. I might switch out my shawl though, since I have my favorite one. But I'm wearing this one right now. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. I know there's not like hardly anybody here because I like promoted this like last minute. So I see Joanna in the chat, which I'm very grateful for. So at least there's one person there, right? Oh, yay, Victor's here too. I have to fix my eyebrows. Okay, there we go. You can hear me. Okay. Oh, I cannot stand looking at myself. I can't stand looking. Oh, White Swan, yay. I'm glad you guys are here. Okay. I don't know if it's the fact that we just moved into Aries with a bunch of different, was it Saturn moved into Aries or something like that? I know there's some Aries planets that's just moved in, and I don't know about you guys, but it has got me fucking fired up. I'm getting very annoyed today. I didn't even know if I was actually going to make it out here or not. But there's some things that I wanted to talk about and mention that I know if I don't come on now and talk about, then if I don't come on here now and talk about it, then I will lose the steam to do it next week. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll probably forget some of the little details or whatever. I might even forget some of the details now. I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? So, but I am excited to talk about some of the things that I have been receiving through my spiritual guidance and things of that nature. This is not a stream for kids. Just so you know, if there's any children in the background, put your earbuds in because I'm going to be talking about some things that definitely aren't for kids to be hearing. So, Selena, glad to see you. Glenn Kelly, nice to see you. Glad to have you here. Thanks for showing up. So, I don't even know where to start, really. Where should I even start for today? Because I put a couple different things on my promo that we could talk about, and I'm kind of excited to talk about all of them. You know what we'll do? Okay, so the eclipse just happened, right? The eclipse just happened on the new moon, and my friend Mario, who does really good astrology, he did this post about it, where basically he was saying that it's very important time right now to think about where you want to end up at the like visualizing yourself, like how things that you want to change by the end of the year and things of that nature. And I know about manifesting. I've been coming out here, I've been telling you guys how important your state of consciousness is, your feelings, what you're thinking about yourself. We have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. And so what you manifest is what you think about 95% of the time, which most people are thinking the same type of thoughts 95% of the time. Okay. So getting out of that, I understand that it is hard. It's easier said than done, I should say, when I come here and I tell you guys, like, this is how you do it. And you just do it. You just think about this other thing that will give you a different feeling, and you just keep going up and you climb up the consciousness ladder. Like, I get it. I recognize that it's not as easy. If you're already used to being in that mode of feeling like, oh, well, this is, especially if you have subconscious beliefs about yourself, core beliefs that you have not yet addressed, then that can cause some problems. You know what I'm saying? That can cause a little bit of a pushback. So anyway, so I've been managing to stay pretty good in what I've been wanting to manifest since I decided to write my DCA, which, if you guys don't know already, it's called a direct chief aim. And it's basically when you take one small thing that you want to manifest and you focus on it every day and you ask spirit to guide you and you start visualizing it and thanking God as if it already is a done deal. You have to feel good about yourself. You have to feel like you have to imagine because people will often tell themselves, well, I'll feel good when. I'll feel good when I have that relationship. I'll feel good when I have that money. I'll feel good when I have that career. And they don't let themselves feel good now. Okay. the truth is that if you were to have that thing right now, most likely you'll feel good for a little bit, right? And then you'll go back to feeling the same old thing that you've always felt because you haven't changed the core belief. Okay. So anyway, so I am working on my DCA, which is getting into alignment with my perfect physical health and feeling comfortable in my body every day. Okay. This is what I've been focusing on. Hi, Jason. Good to see you here. Okay. So this is what I've been working on, right? On a regular basis. And for some reason, the past, I don't know, it probably has been a week or so now, I have just had such a struggle with getting out of this funk that I have been in. Just this, like, there's nothing to look forward to. I want to clean my glasses a little bit. But like, the main thing, I'll be real with you guys, like the main thing I used to look forward to was these conferences that I used to go to. And now it feels like those are dwindling. So I don't know where I'm going to have that type of interaction. And not only that, but I am achieving all these other things. I am like having money flow in, like it's like a dam burst open, and now all this money is flowing in all the time. And I'm just like, okay, so I'm achieving these things. I'm managing to manifest these things, but why is my mood so funky? You know what I'm saying? Like, why am I in such a just, I don't know, a yucky place? It feels like, I don't know. And so I feel like the thing that I, especially considering, Spirit talks to me through movies and shows and stuff, and the show that just came through last week that we talked about, and I'm going to get into the continuation of it very briefly. I'm not going to like do a huge long decode on it. I'm just going to briefly mention the points of what the show was telling me. And it was a horror genre, right? So, and I've been feeling that way. I've been feeling like, why do I feel like this just dread, this just like horror, this just like everything in the world is just corrupted and there's no hope and like all this type of stuff. Like, what is that about? I'm like, that is not my baseline. I have established a baseline within myself for years now, and I've been pretty good at maintaining that baseline. So for me, I was trying to figure out like, okay, like what has happened that I can't seem to get out of this? And so I was, meditating on it and praying on it. And God basically shared with me, or my spirit guides shared with me, that what I was really sensing and what I was really picking up on was the fact that I am tuned into the collective of humanity. Okay. Like we all are connected. We're all one thing. And I even said, like, when God, they were like, this is because of the files drop, which I'm getting the sense that maybe even saying the word on the stream, the algorithm picks up and they like, funnel or like cut down, how many views it will get or whatever. So I'm going to try not to say the name of the person who the files are named after. But basically God was saying to me, like, yeah, you're connected to humanity, and what you're sensing and with this horror vibe and this shift, especially since the lunar eclipse, is just the fact that these files have basically finally reached so many more people that it's like we're all processing for the entire collective, And I was like, well, can I cut that? I was like, can I stop that? Because I don't really like what I'm sensing. I don't really like what I'm feeling. I don't like this. And they were like, well, you can't cut yourself off from humanity because you're part of it. So I can't really cut myself off of it. So I don't know if anyone else is feeling that way, especially if you're a psychic intuitive. It's been very pervasive, I would say. It's just been very, and then the other thing that they told me basically was, for the number 17, you guys know, and how they basically, it's almost like they prepared a bunch of us by showing us all this information. We already, like most of us, I think most of the people here in this group probably already know what was really how evil and dark the elites can be, so to speak. And it's almost like it makes sense to me now, like why they were basically saying that we were going to be the ones, we're going to be the reason that society didn't collapse once it found out the truth. Because didn't number 17 say something about, or the letter 17 say something about basically the truth would put like 95% of people in the hospital or something like that, right? Like, well, now it's like it's too late for, like, that's not going to happen because of the fact that there's so many of us that already knew this and already hold the frequency of that knowledge. So therefore it's like it's keeping us safe. It's keeping us from completely just caving in on ourselves. And not that it's even doing much good, I think, because again, I think that there is strategy to the reason that they released these things, because they've had these for so long and we've known about this stuff for so long, and now they're just, so I don't know. I just don't trust the power system anymore at all. I don't trust Trump anymore. I'm sorry, guys. I don't trust him anymore. But for multiple reasons. We'll just say that, for multiple reasons. But, supporting, the name of the people, what was it? This one Coach Colin, I am Coach Colin YouTube channel. He always refers to them as Philadelphia. You guys know, who I'm talking about. The one that basically is responsible for assassinating Charlie Kirk. Those people, right? So I guess there was some truth in what the number 17 was dropping, but it's like, why now? And is it not, it's almost like it's overwhelming people to the point where it's just hypnotizing them and keeping them still in a like complacency where there's no action. Oh, there was one arrest. Oh, sorry. One arrest. Oh, we got Prince Andrew. Like, this doesn't feel like this is progress to me. I'm sorry. Having Prince, and maybe it's just because I'm in a pissy mood because some person on Facebook pissed me off right before I came on here. And I've been like under stress today all day from my children being off school for all week and me trying to do that and squeeze in psychic sessions for the people that have been requesting them and stuff like that. So I'm just like, I'm a little overwhelmed. But basically, it feels like Prince Andrew is just one of those public humiliation rituals. You know what I'm saying? That's what it feels like to me. It feels like he's like, who gives a fuck about, who cares about Prince Andrew? Who cares? Like, oh no, they arrested one person and I'm supposed to just like fly over the moon for that? Like the cow did, right? The cow jumped over the moon. Hey, diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. If anyone of you guys remember last week. It is hold on. Geraldine, it is the tip of the iceberg. It is. And I want to have hope. Obviously, we have to have hope that we are going somewhere better than where we have been. But I just feel like there is trickery afoot when it comes to the way they are doing this. Do you know what I'm saying? Hello, Sea Beach. Anyone else that I've missed in the chat? I want to make sure okay. I missed some people last week, and I want to make sure I say hi to people this week in the chat. Okay. And I'm sorry, I'm going to try and make sure I glance at this chat every now and then, just because I want to make sure that I see what your guys' opinions is, because I think that you guys have some very good ones. I'm sure of it. And I want this to be an open dialogue for us here. Yeah, Andrew is definitely cooked. You know what he reminded me of? He reminded me of Prince Philip. Hi, Trevor. Good to see you here. Long time no see. But anyway, you remember Prince Philip, that he was like basically like on death's door. Well, why was he even still alive? He just looked so sickly and everything like that. Like Prince Andrew's picture reminds me a lot of Prince Philip's picture. So again, this just feels like they don't really care about the monarchy anymore. Oh, like let's give them something so they'll keep them calm and it'll keep them quiet. We'll arrest Prince Andrew. It's like another P. Diddy. Is anything really going to come of it? Like, we know there's so many people involved in this. It's all of them. And what is anyone doing about it? What can we do about it? Now they have traumatized a bunch of people by revealing all the stuff that most of us already knew. And how is this going to work out for the best of us? I don't know. And like I said, maybe it just could be because I'm in a funk. Because like I said, someone was pissing me off today right before I came on here on Facebook they basically underneath my promo for this stream were saying something like, I need to not be talking about the files, basically. That's not what we need to be focusing on. We need to be doing this to transcend and blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking to myself, like, bro, are you telling me what to do on my own stream? Like, you have no idea where I'm going. Bro, like, this guy is already on walking thin ice with me when it comes to his comments. And I'm like, I'm like this close to fucking blocking him. So, yeah, let me see what some of you guys have to say in the chat about this, because I'm sure you have something to say. Okay, so yeah, I guess there are a couple more arrests that I am not acknowledging it. Okay, Norway's crown princess having her son arrested on nearly 40 SA charges. Oh, Miss White Swan said this. So, oh, you do go on X a lot, so I should probably tune to you for more of my information when it comes to update and current news, because I literally have been staying off Facebook almost as much as I possibly can. I get on there, I post some things, and then I come back off, because it's just like I'm so focused on this manifestation stuff that I've been doing and just making sure my connection is pure and on point, so hello there, Kay. Nice to see you. Oh, I'm glad to hear you. I'm glad to see you watching. Thank you. Hold on. I saw a meme today that was so right. It says, X is the internet smoking section. It really is, and I don't use it nearly enough. And it's because I get so easily overwhelmed I'll get lost in it. I'll get lost in it. I'll click on one thing and then I'll be like, oh, what does the comment say on this? And I'll go to the comments and someone else will post something in the comments, and then I click on that and there's more stuff, more information on that. And then there's more. So I need someone like you, Miss Liz, to basically, I need you to just send me Twitter X stuff. Okay. Because even if it's good memes too, because, it seems like the best memes come from there. Cause because Matthew Mordian is on X a lot too. And he sends me some funny things on there. And I'm like, I never would have found that on Facebook. Some of the things you can't share just because it goes a little bit too far, but, but X is the hot spot, I guess. Yeah. You guys are the ones. You guys are my X people. Okay. Geraldine. Okay. She says it's all facade. I agree. All right. I'm just briefly looking over here. Yeah. Oh my God. I heard he was arrested on his birthday. I didn't know it was his 66th birthday. Glenn Kelly told us this. He said, very curious. He was arrested on his 66th birthday. It's not a coincidence. They're doing these things on purpose. This is a ritual. There's some symbolism behind it, just like with David Bowie, like he was part of the club, so to speak. And I remember his birthday came around, and I'm pretty sure he died on his birthday, and they also released his album like a couple days after that, or maybe it was on his birthday. Like he died like all at the same time. I remember it was something really fucking weird like that. And then to top it off, he had this song on his album called Valentine's Day, and it was all about like shooting up a school and stuff like that. And then later on that year, they had a school shooting, and it was I don't know if it was on Valentine's Day, but it was something where the song totally connected with the shooting. And it was like, wow, so what is this? So it's like they're just telling us that like David Bowie's clearly working for them, even though I love David Bowie. That's the thing. I love David Bowie's music. I thought he was a cool guy. But clearly he was in it. But I do think he was trying to tell us the truth about it. I think he regretted it later on. That was my feeling, especially with the song Black Star that we've gone over before. If you guys haven't had a chance to watch that video, or Stars, the song Stars, the video and the song also shows what they are doing, and basically how Hollywood and celebrities and musicians and stuff have to allow themselves to open up to other entities coming in and taking over their body. And then the entities are the ones that are really working through them. Like I know he wrote a whole, and you know what? There's a lot of things that can do that, intentions, drugs, like being part of these secret group sacrifices, things of that nature. I remember he said he wrote a whole album where he did had no sleep, and he basically just did cocaine for like a week. And it was like Station to Station was the album or something like that. So it's like things, things happen. People open themselves up to these types of things. So let's see if I can. Okay. So that's really what I have to say about the files and what's going on with them, and what I am sensing when it comes to the rest of humanity basically coming to terms with that the conspiracy theorists weren't lying and just trying to believing like the craziest things, like Pizzagate was real, right? Like it was real, guys. Like the things that they're doing, the horrific things that they've been doing this for a very, very long time. And I think that honestly is a big reason why a lot of us starseeds and such came to this planet, was to try and help fight for the light to overcome this. Okay. And I really wish I had listened to this video I just got done watching that really went into some of the finer details and aspects of how we're coming up to this gateway where it's going to be allowing for disclosure to finally come through. And it's because there's like been some type of, this guy is brilliant man, totally in alignment with what he's saying. He's saying that this has been a 3,000 year like gate barrier lockdown, so to speak, of anything like things being able to allowed to come in, both good and bad, like physically. Okay. So like, we're not going to see aliens in the ships like that because they're only this guy was saying that they're only quantumly entangled, let's say like 20% with this reality. They're actually in another realm. But the more people believe in it, the more people open themselves up to it, the more people consent to it, the more they are able to quantumly entangle themselves. And let's say they get to like 95% quantum entanglement, then they will physically show themselves and arrive. Like, this is what this guy was saying. And it made sense to me and it felt right to me. Okay. So, okay. So I'm going to go into some of the other crazy things that I have to talk about. Let's see. There was one. Okay, hold on, guys. I gotta get on track. Yes, this is true, Joanna. This is true. Wait. Your aunt used to say you look like David Bowie, Victor. Oh, that's so funny. When I think about it, you kind of do, actually. Yes, Geraldine. Yes, exactly. He scapegoated to be the distraction. You're talking about Prince Andrew, right? Yes, Geraldine. I totally agree. Totally in agreement with you on that one. Okay, so let me very quickly actually get into something that I found because this is part of my experiment, honestly, is coming out here because I'm kind of like a scientist at heart. You know, I do these experiments, like with the manifestation, like with my heart wishes. You know what I'm saying? When I had my first big heart wish and it came true, I was like, well, if I'm really doing something and it is a result of a request that I'm making, okay, then I should be able to repeat that, right? Oh, I didn't change my freaking camera settings. Victor told me how to, and I didn't. Shit. Remind me later, Victor. Okay. Anyway, back to what we're talking about. So about manifestation. Okay. So part of the reason that I remember, if you remember, I did not mention exactly what had happened with my car a couple weeks back. And it was because, like I said, I was trying something different where normally if something happens with my car, because I've had really not great experiences with cars, because I'm a DoorDasher, so I use my car a lot, you know, and I didn't even tell anyone. Like when it happened, when the fluke with my car happened, I didn't even utter it to anyone. I mentioned something to people that something terrifying had happened to me, and that but I couldn't tell them the exact details of it because I wanted to do something completely different. That was the experiment. We're going to do something completely different. We're not going to tell anyone what happened. I'm not going to call my mom. I'm not going to tell my friends. You know, I'm not even going to mention what it was. Even the first week that I even kind of briefly mentioned it on my stream, I didn't. And I could tell like I was able to keep everything going smoothly. Okay. So then I opened up to you guys last week. Right. And I tell you guys that I actually verbally say it. And sure enough, I could feel like the fear try to get back in. It was like almost like they were using the fact that I spoke it on here to get back in. And it was almost even like there were times where people had heard and they put some thought into it. And it's like they sent the thoughts my way and I'm picking up on them because thoughts are real. Thoughts are things. And if I had any doubts about that, I got confirmation of it this morning that that it is true. And I'm going to tell you exactly how. And this is going to wrap back into the funky mood that I was in yesterday, not being able to, because that's the thing. If you're going to try and manifest something, you have to be in an emotional state, an emotional place, in a positive emotional state in order to manifest that thing. Okay. So for me, when it came to like my car thing, it was like, okay, it was just a fluke. And I just kept visualizing my car running smoothly. And I was like, not even giving it any attention at all. And I was trying to visualize, oh, wow. Remember when you were worried about that thing happening and then nothing ever happened again after that? And I was so happy. And I kept seeing myself come home from work, visualizing that. And I really think that it worked. And if there was any doubt that is possible for it to work, I ran an experiment today, okay, that where I think it confirmed that that indeed I am a powerful manifester. Like thoughts are things, thoughts. This is true stuff, okay? And I'm going to tell you how. So today, I got two things actually to go over in regards to this person that I've been doing these sessions for. So I'm doing a session for this guy today, and out of nowhere, the power in my house goes out. Now, remind you guys, I was like planning on coming out here to do a stream today, and every experience that I have had living in this house, when the power goes out, it goes out and it stays out. Like for hours, sometimes like a full day. Like it's never easy. Okay. And you know, I have a son that has type 1 diabetes, so his medicines have to stay in the refrigerator. And so now I'm like freaking out because not only about his medicines, but about, you know, all the food in there and everything like that. Usually I freak out. That's immediately what I go to. I immediately call my mom and be like, you know, send your boyfriend over to help me set up the generator. We need to plug everything in. Immediately start pulling out the generator. Well, I was like, you know what? This time we're going to do something completely different. And this is the guy that I have been doing manifestation sessions with every single morning. Me and him, we've been getting together, and we are his physical health. We're both working on each other's physical health. That's the manifestation. And then we do a manifestation for the world. We do a little meditation thing on it every single day for the most part. And so he was there. He was on the phone with me when this happened, when the power went out. And so he's like, it's okay. You know, he's like, it's okay, Cassandra, which if you guys don't know, that's my real name, Cassandra. And so he was like, it's okay, Cassandra. He's like, let's just stop for a second and let's do a meditation to get your power back on. I said, okay. You know what I'm saying? At first I was like, going downstairs to check with the kids, and I'm like, oh my God, you know, the power's up. And I'm like thinking to myself, oh, it always takes forever. Like now I'm going to have to deal with all this stuff. We had 20 minutes left on the session. I'm so annoyed, but I was like, you know what? We'll give it a shot. So I sat down, and he's like, within 2 minutes, it's going to come back on. Just wait. Within 2 minutes, it's going to come back on. So I get into this meditative state. We get into this state, and we're breathing, and I'm imagining, you know, I'm imagining electricity coming off of me in this big giant bubble, and everyone's house has come back on, and I'm putting it out there. And then I realized, like, I was like, listen, you already have one of those manifestations under your belt. Remember your car thing? You manifested that it's okay. And look, it was okay. And so it's like I was able to let go and relax, and I felt this energy come through me. And I felt like it was both of our energies connected together with this same intention and purpose, which was to turn the power back on. And so after we he did this countdown, and we stopped, and we sat back, and he was like, well, if you need to go, I understand. And I said, well, no, I'm like, what am I going to do? We got 20 minutes left on the session. We might as well finish it up, and then I'll deal with the stuff afterwards. Within a minute, the power was back on. Within a minute, the power came back on. I've lived in this house for 3 years. Never once has the power come back on that quick. Never. So I'm like, okay, well, there we go. There's another manifestation under my belt that I can put in there, as if I didn't have enough before. But you know, it's like I've always manifested really big things. You know what I'm saying? So it was like things that people, I really feel like people have a hard time even believing, you know. So I was like, well, I need to get better at manifesting things that are like regular in our daily lives type of thing. You know, because I don't know why it was easier for me to have opened my mind up to those bigger things. So now we're doing this littler things, and this guy is really something. He's got some very strong positive reptilian energy to him and behind him, I can tell, which, you know, I'm all about that. So so let me just tell you about some of the other stuff. One of the other experiences that I had with this guy. Do we want to go into that yet, or do we want to go into the other stuff? When we get to the thought form section. Okay, so let me briefly, we're going to go over the continuation of, no, guys, I'm out of order on this, because you know that I don't write in order what I'm going to do. I just try to come out here. Plus I've been, like I said, I've been in a fucking mood today. No, you're perfectly on time, Sandy. Nice to see you here. Okay, so let's see. Madoka Magica first, or are we going to the thought forms first? No, I know, the dream. So I got confirmation that thoughts are things, okay? Because obviously, you know, I have dreams and my dreams come true. Okay. Yeah, I know, right, Geraldine? It's been 3 years. It's been 3 years since all of that happened. So I had a dream last night. I woke up from it. I barely remembered any of it. I just knew that there was some chasing going on. People were trying to chase me, and there were lots of colors, and there was just like this like electric blue type of light that was like spinning around, and I managed to like duck and hide under this thing, and people they didn't get me. And I woke up saying, I believe in 50 farms. I believe in 50 farms. Okay. So I was like, well, that's really fucking weird. And the reason also, I was up at like, that's another reason why I wanted to try and keep this short, because I was up at 6:45 in the morning. Okay. I went to bed for some reason. I couldn't get out of that funk yesterday when it came to visualizing and manifesting what I wanted by the end of the year, to try and take control, or like to use the power behind the new moon and the lunar eclipse. I just couldn't. And for some reason, I passed out like 7 o'clock. Okay. And I woke up at 6:45 in the morning on my one day to sleep in. And so I'm really fucking aggravated at this point. You know, I've been aggravated kind of on and off all day. And to the point where, you guys, I didn't even wear my nicotine patch, and I might even light up a cigarette during this. And I'm sorry. I might just have to do that, because this has been it's going to calm me down. As you can see, I'm going like a million miles a minute here. So I have this dream, and I'm like, what the hell? I believe in 50 farms. I believe in 50 farms. And so I'm like, well, I'm up now, and I'm still kind of in this funky mood. So I turn on Netflix because I was going to watch this one show that I've been watching, a different Magica show, which is like a record show, which is a side story. And instead of watching that, there was a suggestion. It was like, you know how you continue watching this show and it will like bring it up, right? And there was this show that came on, and it was a Korean drama. And you know how much I love Korean dramas. And it was called The Doctor, which, you know, I'm all about Doctor Who. So the doctor, I'm all about the doctors, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, this is catching my eye. Maybe I'll just give it a quick little peek. You know what I'm saying? And so while I'm kind of watching it, I also am like scrolling through YouTube, seeing if there's some little short or something that I could put on, or a little video or whatever, because maybe I'll get tired of watching this Korean drama, you know what I'm saying? And so the Korean drama, which, tell me why the Koreans are obsessed with time travel. Because I tell you, almost every single one of the Korean dramas that I love has time travel in it to some extent. I'm like, what is that about? Because I know I've lived past lifetimes in Korea. So I'm like, why them? Why are they? And the Chinese too, the Chinese and the Koreans, they love to do dramas that involve time travel. So this particular drama was about a doctor, okay, that, well, it was about, you know, back in the day when there were kings and queens. And this queen, basically, she gets attacked. Okay. And she gets put into this position where she's cut along the neck, and the doctor, he does acupuncture and stuff, right? So he lays her down. They manage to fight off the bad guys. They lay her down. He doesn't have any surgical experience though, or anything like that. So he's like, they're like, can you even save her? Like, and he's like, I don't know if I can save her. And so he's a very special doctor. And so he puts all these acupuncture needles inside the queen. But then he also takes his hands, and he's got this blue flame like electricity that would come out of his hands. And they called it chi. They were like, he would put that chi into the needle, and the needle would then rebalance the body somehow and help it heal. Okay. But he couldn't do it alone. So he sent a warrior through this spinning blue vortex that they called the gate of heaven, which really it was just a gate into the future, where this warrior goes in, and he just happens to find a female doctor who's a surgeon, because there was a convention going on, and he pulls her in to the past so that this woman can heal the queen. Okay. Now, I didn't watch anything past that, because I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. And that was basically my dream, because there was a lot of chasing going around, and the colors lined up and stuff like that. But then again, I'm like, okay, well, what about the 50 farms though? I even woke up thinking to myself about farms, and how, like, wow, that's how simple life used to be. It's like just caring for yourself, all you really needed to do was to grow your own food and be able to hunt your own meat, and like that was, imagine what that was like for people back then without any of what we have nowadays. Like that was the most important thing. So I'm watching the little YouTube video that I sent. Like I said, I'm briefly looking at this Korean drama, and this one came up, and it said, thoughts are things or something. Thought forms are real. They most people do clickbaity type of, clickbaity type of titles, which I'm so close to doing clickbaity type of stuff at this point, just because I want to see if it makes a difference. I want to run that experiment, but then I can't bring myself to do it. There's something that I'm like, I can't bring myself to just be straight up clickbaity. So I didn't. But anyway, so that's what the clickbait that got me was like, thought forms are real. And so I clicked on it, and it was this woman describing an NDE experience that she had a near-death experience. If you guys don't know what an NDE means. So it was this whole channel this guy had made, recording a bunch of different people's NDE experiences. So I ended up watching this woman's, and I ended up watching this other, like two of them, like this woman and this man's NDE experience, and hearing how they were the same and how they were different. And the woman was basically saying that when she had her near-death experience, that God basically showed her that thoughts are very important, and that the thought, because we're all connected, that the thoughts that you send out and you think about people, they actually go to people and they go into their field, and it can influence that person to behave the exact way that you're thinking about them behaving, that it can stick with them. And that is why that you have to be in control of your thoughts. You have to pay attention to that forgiveness is very important, because you're influencing and you're affecting people by your thoughts too, which I have known. Tell me why sometimes you can know something, and you're like, at the very beginning of all this, when I started realizing that my thoughts affect people, that people were getting my thoughts, or that I was getting people's thoughts, and I thought to myself, I made a promise to myself at that point, well, you know what? I'm going to think the best thoughts about people. Then if people are going to get my thoughts, then I'm going to do my best to think the best thoughts about people. You know what I'm saying? But I haven't completely stayed to that path, obviously. Like even with my stream last week, I went off about my ex, right? And I'm like just thinking all sorts of shit towards them. Not too much, but angry. You know what I'm saying? Angry. Not only that, there were this girl that was in the community that also at the same time, she like checked out because she made this huge Facebook post about me, calling me a narcissist and stuff like that. And boy, do I just, if she comes up, if her name gets mentioned, I love to shoot some fucking negative thoughts her way, because I'm just like, fuck you. Can't, still, I don't care. I'm glad you're fucking gone. But now watching this NDE, this woman's experience, I'm like, shit, now I got to fucking step back and think about it. I'm like, does this mean I have to forgive them? Like, really? Like, I'm affected because would I want to be forgiven? People that think, well, are there people, what if there are people out there and they're having, this has to be true, right? People that are having negative thoughts about me, where it comes and it gets in my field, and then I'm affected by it, and so therefore I need to learn how to control that. And not only that, I need to, ask for forgiveness for the people that I do upset like that and would have negative thoughts about me, if possible. So yeah, there was another part of it though that I'm gonna get into, so that way you can make sense of the I believe in 50 farms thing. But at first I want to say hi, Psychic Duck. I'm so happy to have you here. Hi. And Uncle Creepy, aka Crispy Knee, aka Chris Pine. Yes, nice to see you. Glad you guys could make it. All right, so back to the subject though. So I watched this woman's thing, and so it's like confirmation. Okay, thoughts are real and they're things, and I have to learn to realize that people can send thoughts to each other and it can stick in their field, especially if it's negative. And so forgiveness is very important, because we're all affecting each other. And so I go on to this next one, and this guy's describing his NDE experience, and he's talking about how when you're in these higher realms, that it's basically like a cosmic orgasm. He said, imagine just being in a state of orgasm, and it's just like that all the time. That's just like their normal state, is to exist in this high, pleasurable type of state. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's the normal way to be. And he said that at that point, God was talking to him, and God was telling him, okay, like you're going to have to go back down into your body now. And the guy was saying to him, which it's funny because most of the people who experience NDEs are like, what are you talking about? Go back. I'm out of here now. I'm not going back into there. Most people are like, I'm not, once I'm out, I'm gone. I'm done. And so they have to really be not so much convinced, but told like, no, you have some important things to do. You have some important missions to do and some important work here on earth. So you're going to have to go back because you didn't finish. And it was nice seeing you, but you're going back in there. And the guy said to him, no, he's like, I bought the farm. Okay. I'm not going back. And then I realized, oh, he bought the farm. Okay. So that's why I believe in 50 farms came up from my dream. So now I'm just kind of wondering to myself, I'm like, okay, so what is spirit trying to tell me from that? Like, so this is where my mind goes. I'm just going to tell you how I try to decode it. Okay. So I believe in 50 farms. When I came to this planet, or when I got stuck here, so to speak, I've talked about my most important dream, especially I mentioned it last week, where in my most important dream, me and a group of people, my companions, we were chasing the storm cloud into a valley surrounded by limestone mountains, which I feel like was like China or whatever. And when I slid down on my silver cord into the storm that was pink and black shape-shifting energy, that a barrier formed around me and I got trapped in there. I got trapped in the storm. Okay. And so I know that I came here as a group of 5. Okay, I've said this before, that it was 5 of us, or I've said it was 5 people, but I keep forgetting that I'm included in that group of 5. So I'm wondering, wouldn't it be weird if 5 of us came here, okay, and somehow our energies split apart in a way to where there were like 10 different versions of us or something like that. And maybe the reason I believe in 50 farms is because I believe in my companions and all the different versions of us that exist out there in the world. That's very hypothetical. And I just thought I would mention that because this is me trying to make sense of this crazy reality that we are in, which is starting to feel more and more like Inception. Okay. Like the movie Inception. Okay. There's a lot of things it's starting to feel like. Okay. And I'm going to get into some of those examples in a second, especially in regards to the movie Madoka Magica Rebellion. It's so hard for me to say these names slowly. Okay, so hi Matthew, I see you in the chat. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I say hi to all the friends, because like I said, I didn't say hi to some people last week, and I beat myself up for stuff like that. So so we're just gonna get that out of the way. So that is my thoughts on that crazy dream that I had, and then the crazy synchronicities that I had after that. I don't know. I really want to try and understand what it is that I have gotten myself into here. Like how are we all in this reality bubble together, so to speak? Like, how are these other realities working? I'm downloading more and more. I'm praying for more information, and I will be updating you guys more on this stuff. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's jump over to, I did promise my daughter I'd be as quick as possible too, guys. So, so we're going over now to Madoka Magica Rebellion, and how it altered and changed from the actual show that I finished up last week, which basically it came down to 2 main characters, right? Well, actually it was 5. It was basically like 5 magical girls, which again, I thought was really weird. You know what I'm saying? That number 5 coming up again for me, because I've been asking for them to tell me the truth about why I'm here, like what is going on, like how can I best understand this, my reality and consciousness, and how can I affect it and things like that, because I have some gifts that are a little bit different and unique than some other people's when it comes to just being able to verbally say things and request things that most people would think is not possible to happen, and then it does happen, right? And then it does happen. So Madoka Magica Rebellion continued the story where you think it does. You're like, what? How is this happening? Because it starts off basically where Homura, which was the one who had the ability to time travel, because again, these themes keep coming back up for me again and again. Time traveling. What are some of the other ones? Being magical, being able to make wishes. Like in the show, they called it wishes, but in the translation, I guess it was called prayers. So it's just prayers. Okay. And having like an actual type of interdimensional being that was the one that helped transform these magical girls, these regular girls, into magical girls to where they had these abilities, you know. And so it starts off, or let's say I'll recap where we ended. We ended where Homura had made a wish a long time ago to be, all she wanted was to save her friends. She mainly wanted to save Madoka. Okay. And so she kept time traveling, and people, she couldn't tell them. She kept trying to tell them, hey, I'm from the future. I'm just trying to help. We got to stop this from happening because this big event's about to happen. If we don't stop it, then we're all going to die. And I want to stop us from dying. But she kept doing this, and it kept creating more and more timeline attachments to Madoka, to where it was giving Madoka more power and actually creating that thing she didn't want to happen. It was manifesting that thing happening even more because she was trying to change it. She couldn't just accept it, right? And so her wish was to save Madoka, and then Madoka's wish was to erase all witches from existence, because that was what magical girls were turning into, right? They were turning into witches once their soul gems, okay, reached a level, once they reached an emotional level of despair in the world, they would get so polluted with this darkness that they would transform and they would turn into witches, and their soul gems would then turn into grief seeds. Okay, so it picks up basically where you see all the girls, right? And they're all together and they're fighting now something completely new, right? Because even though all witches were erased from existence, the evil that human beings still, not evil, the byproduct of human emotions, especially dark human emotions, still manifest in some way. Now they weren't manifesting as the girls turning into witches. They were manifesting as shadow beings that they called wraiths, right? Okay, so, and you know, I thought about this, guys. I thought about this is kind of a weird coincidence. Now, you remember that I talked about going after Erica Kirk last week, right? I talked about going after Erica Kirk, and that was why I thought, or that was why I'm pretty sure I had that experience, that bad experience with my car, having the trouble. We'll just say that. My car having that trouble, I'm pretty sure was a result of her having these strong satanic forces that protect her in a way. When I tapped into her energy, and they were like, you know, and I was like, I won't mess with her. You know what I'm saying? And I realized, like, wait a second. If a magical girl is naturally drawn to killing witches and killing basically the other magical girls that have transformed into these witches, God, have I not been doing something similar to that? Like, here I am trying to go after Erica Kirk, which I think, you know, she definitely would be considered a dark witch. But even in the past, like I've told you guys, like, I will watch certain true crime shows and so or whatever, and I'll make like a hit list, and I'll tell my guys, like, this is what we're gonna do. You know, we're gonna go and we're gonna help out whatever way that we can and take these evil beings or whatever's attached to them out. We're gonna free these humans, right? Like, it even put me in the hospital one time. I told you guys, this is when it was last year, when I had that song playing in my head over and over again. Are you ready? That song. That was because I had tried to go after, I forget what their names are now, and maybe it's not important, but it was these two women that really super duper badly abused children. Okay, so I'm like, wow, that's kind of a very strange similarity here from the story to my life and what I've been kind of doing here. So back to the movie. So Madoka Magica, the Rebellion. It starts off, all the girls are alive. And you're kind of like, what the hell's going on? Because if you remember, Madoka, she transformed herself into a bunch of different versions of herself where her physical self didn't exist anymore. And really no one remembered her except for Homura, the one that had the time traveling ability. So they're all fighting these wraiths now. And there's even an extra character, which was one of the witches, okay, that they had killed another one of the magical girls. And so these 5 of them are here, and they're fighting what's called nightmares now. Okay, but everyone's happy. Everyone's working together. You're kind of like really confused. You're like, did they just reboot this show? Like, what in the hell is going on here? And that is when Homura starts to figure out. She starts to question, like, what is this reality I'm in? And she starts to go towards the edges of the next city. She's like, well, I'm going to go travel to the next city. She asked one of her friends. She said, you came from this city, right? Let's go travel to it and see what's going on. Because really, her friend, they shouldn't even remember witches. She's the only one that was from that reality. She's the only one that should remember Madoka and the witches. And so she travels to the edge of the city with her friend, and it brings her back in a loop. So there are no edges. It's almost like they're in like a video game, where if you were in a video game and you just went to a certain place and then it just routes you and wraps you back around to the side where you originally started from, so to speak. I mean, they do say this is a possible simulation, right? Simulation theory or whatever. So anyway, so Homura is starting to figure out, like, okay, something is not right here. Something is wrong with my reality. And that is when she decides to do an experiment where first she thinks it is another one, the magical girl who died, Mommy. She thinks it's her. So she goes and she tries to fight her, but she ends up not being able to do that. Okay. She ends up almost losing. At the very end, Mommy is still, she ends up dying. She ends up getting taken out. And it turns out she's just a ribbon being. So she wasn't even real. So now now Homura is like really freaked out, which Homura is the one on my picture that I posted for this, the thumbnail, guys. And I promise we're going to get into thought form stuff after I briefly go over this. But so she realizes, okay, something is definitely way off here, because no one should remember Madoka. No one should remember witches. And Kyoko remembers, and Mommy remembers. And she's like, She even talks to Madoka at one point, and she says to her, I had this dream that you went really far away from me where I couldn't be with you. And Madoka basically says to her, I would never do that. You know what I'm saying? I would never do such a thing anywhere where I would go so far that I couldn't ever see you again. And this affects Homura in a way that she didn't expect, because now she's starting to think like, wow, so wait a second, maybe Madoka made that wish against her own will. Not only that, but Madoka's wish kind of did go against Homura's wish, which all that was to save her life and to have her be in her life, present in her life. And so Homura comes up with this experiment where you're not allowed to be away from your soul gem 100 yards max, and then your body drops and your body dies if you are not close to your soul gem. So she takes her soul gem and she puts it on a table, and she gets on a bus and she starts driving away. And this is where it starts getting good, because suddenly basically apocalyptic types of actions start happening, where these blimps start falling from the sky on fire, and this weird music starts playing because she's getting farther and farther away from her soul gem. And suddenly she realizes that she is no longer a magical girl. In fact, at some point she has turned into a witch. So at some point she reached a level of despair, but why isn't she fully turned into a witch yet and made a labyrinth and stuff like that? And that is when we get to find out that those fucking sneaky interdimensional fucking beings, that cat being, Kube, he basically, they find a way, because remember, Kube, these interdimensional beings, they eat the grief. They eat the energy that is released when humans reach a level of despair that it excretes from their body. Okay. Especially when they completely turn over into witches or whatnot. Okay. And so they found a way, since no more witches exist, they found a way to put a containment field around Homura, which is the last one that even remembers what witches are, because that's the only way that they can continue this cycle of like pushing her to the edge and then like feeding off of her, basically. And so how did the other girls get into her awareness, though? Because everything else around her is fake except for these five, her friends, which is the group of five. All right. And so you find out that Madoka, she's basically like a god now, and she came to complete the law of cycles. This is what they're calling it now. Madoka controls the law of cycles, and the law of cycles commands that when a magical girl, gets ready to turn into a witch, she comes and she saves them, and they basically die at that point, but they don't ever turn into a witch and go against their principle, which is to help this world. That is their true nature, and the true intentions of their hearts is to help this world and the people in it. And so you find out that Madoka was stopped from rescuing Homura, and they had to go on a secret mission. Her and the other two of the other magical girls, Kyoko and Mami, sorry. And it doesn't even really matter the names, right? Sakura and Mami, didn't actually die. They actually stopped them, and they became her like personal bodyguards. And so they took upon this mission. The group of them took upon this mission to go inside the containment field where Humara existed to rescue her. Okay, but the problem was, if Monica remembered her true ability, that would signal those interdimensional cat beings, and that is what they were trying to do. They were trying to lure Monica through Humara so that they could entrap her and harness her power somehow. So what Monica had to do was she had to completely forget who she was, completely forget her memories and the true power that she held as a god. And she had to entrust the two bodyguards that she had with her to hold on to that until they could eventually get to the point where they could break the containment field and rescue Humara from being fed off of on a nonstop basis, basically. And they managed to do it. They break that containment field finally, and Monica comes back into remembering who she really is. And she's like, oh my God, I can't believe she was living on this planet this whole time, not even remembering her true ability. And, as I was meditating about that in that whole situation, I realized that there's another story of mine that is attached to this and is very much like this. And of course, it's a Doctor Who story, because Doctor Who is like one of my favorite ways that spirit talks through me is through Doctor Who stories. And there was a story, and if you guys have watched this, the David Tennant version of Doctor Who, he actually has an experience too, where there are these beings, these very powerful beings that are attracted, and they will eat Time Lord energy. They will eat it. And so him and Martha are trying to escape these entities that want to feed off of him. And in order to escape them, he basically has to take the memories of his power and who he really is, and he has to put it into a pocket watch. He puts it into a pocket watch. And then Martha is the one that holds on to the memories. And basically they have to find a way to find out where the aliens are, find out which ones they are, because they're going to disguise themselves as humans. Okay. And then they're going to end up killing those aliens. They're going to get in front of, but up until that point, the Doctor doesn't even remember Martha. He doesn't remember who he is. He doesn't remember the Time Lord energy. And the only thing that ends up triggering these aliens to the point where they do almost fail their mission is some young boy comes and he opens up the pocket watch. And so therefore he gets a glimpse of what the Time Lord energy is all about. And that triggers those interdimensional beings to be like, oh, I found him. Here he is. And they think it's that boy, but it's not that boy. And honestly, the Doctor doesn't even want to remember. The Doctor is like fighting Martha, and he's like, why do I have to be something so important? I just want to be happy with this woman that I found, and like I have this bigger mission. I don't want to do it. Well, let someone else do it. And Martha like has to like slap him and like, get a hold of yourself, Doctor. Like, you have something more important to do here. You have a mission, and you have not been doing it yet because you had to erase your memories of it in order for you to not be eaten by these interdimensional beings. Okay. So it very much reminded me of that. So I'm just feeling through this. And so it ends up, and I'm just going to tell you guys the ending. I'm spoil it all for you because I always spoil the shows that I watch for you guys, so you don't have to watch them. And the ending, they do rescue Humara, and the goddess version of Madoka remembers who she is. She comes down, but Humara is like, but I didn't get my wish. My wish was to be with you and to save you. And so what she does is, in the moment that she is saving her, she grabs a hold of her, a piece of her, and pulls her into the containment field with her, basically. Because the only way that even her friends could get in there, that's the thing. The way they kept her in the containment field, isolated, was that only the people that she remembered and that she would willingly let in could get in. Only the people she remembered and could willingly get in. So only the real true people of real true friends that she had could get in and get to her. And she stops Medica and puts her back into a body, basically. It takes a piece of Monica's power and then erases everyone's memories. And every now and then, Monica starts to remember. And when she does, she hugs him. She hugs Monica. And she says, don't you want to stay here with me, though? Don't you want to stay here? And isn't this world a lovely world that I made for you? You know? And so she basically becomes an inverted version of Madoka, which, I don't know. That shit fucking tripped me out. So anyway, our Are we in a containment field? Like, is that what my dream was representing? The storm being sealed off? Am I in some type of containment field? You know, like I said, even with River Song, she was in the storm cage facility. All these different stories and shows that I'm watching that I'm most attracted to, they all have these similar elements. And so I'm just wondering, like how deep in the levels are we? Like I said, it feels more like Inception. Like it feels like Inception, like a dream within a dream within a dream. What is going on here? And how do we remember our true God status in order to awaken? Because that's basically what it was saying. It's like Monica had to, and she almost did. Every now and then, she almost remembered who she really was. And she almost got back and attained her full God powers again. So that way she could end the whole thing. But Humra kept her there. And she said, Humra basically acknowledged, she's like, eventually you're going to figure it out. Like, eventually you're going to figure it out. And eventually we're going to have to fight. And hopefully you'll be strong enough at that point with your friends that you'll be able to destroy me. So is that the point that we're at? Is that the point we're at? I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know. So anyway, let's throw all that away now. Okay. And I do think it might, oh, I'm so close to lighting a fucking cigarette. So close. So anyway, let's get into some of the thought form stuff though. So we're done with the little stories that I like to tell. And we're going to get into some of my experiences with different thought forms and trying to identify like what's coming from what. I'm still trying to figure it all out, guys. Okay. Because now I realize that since thought forms do go into people's fields and they stay there, and then we can pick up on them, like, especially when I'm doing psychic sessions with people and stuff like that, or I'm just tapping into things for my friends and stuff like that. I've noticed that the question I find myself asking is, am I tapping in to their own thoughts about what it is they think about a subject? Or am I tapping in to what, let's say, our guides are saying or what God is saying about the subject? Because I seem to be really, really good at being able to psychically draw to me and convey what people are already really thinking about. Like, I literally will have flashes of like images appear before my mind. I'll give you a small example. I was talking to this girl at one of the conference events that I went to, and she was talking about Facebook and how the algorithm works and everything like that. And I have mentioned this before, this example, but just to briefly go over it. And we were talking about the algorithm. And as soon as I was telling her, explaining to her how it went, I saw like an image of like her thinking about a post and like there being like the reactions and then a specific name. I saw this specific name. And so I just said to her, I was like, are you thinking about this? This is what you're thinking about? You're thinking about this person in regards to this? And she was like, oh, stop. You know, she was like, oh, shh, don't say anything. You know, like, I was like, I ain't gonna say nothing, girl. Don't even worry about that. He ain't got nothing. You know, I'm not someone who just randomly goes around spreading information like that. You know, I want to be a trustworthy person, you know, and I want to be able to trust people. So it's like, I'm trying to make sure I stay on that I stay true to my integrity and my own principles. There we go. That's what I'm thinking of, the word principles. So let's get into one of the other things though. So I won't deny that this is going to take a little bit of a, a spicy nature. Let's just say that. We'll just say this is going to be a little bit of a spicier thing. Okay, guys. So for a long time, I tried to explain astral stuff to you guys. Like, it's like there's this mind space. Oh, I actually have the perfect example. It just came to me right now. So the sessions that I've been doing with this guy recently, right? So one of the things he was having me do is he was having me tap into the mind of his brother. He wanted to have he had some questions for his brother. Okay. And so I was doing it and I was feeling into the brother energy. And so I brought him up in my mind space, which is like just this white space that I believe is the astral space, is what I think it is. This is how I experience astral. Okay. So I had his brother there, whatever version of his brother that would exist in this place. And so I was talking to his brother and I was asking him certain questions and he was giving me answers. Now, it wasn't like I'm verbally saying the questions. I'm like just telepathically communicating with him. And so I answered to the guy who was getting the session done exactly what his brother was saying, and it pissed him off in a way that he was so mad about it that suddenly he appeared in that mind space with me. This guy jumped into my mind space. This is another reason I know that. I'm like, this guy has like reptilian energy, strong reptilian energy, usually equals strong telepathic abilities, mental abilities when it comes to this type of stuff. He jumped into my mind space. He grabbed a hold of his brother. He started dunking his head in water and trying to drown him. And before I could even verbally say any of that, he describes exactly what it is that I'm seeing. He's like, fuck him. I'm going to take him and I'm going to just drown him in this bucket. And he was like, he had some words. And so he's just sitting there and he's like, I'm just watching this now. I'm like, oh shit. Like somehow I'm like, so when we open ourselves up to that astral space, are we somehow opening a portal for other people who can jump into it somehow? Because clearly that's kind of what happened here, right? Like I'm like, it was one of the most interesting experiences I've ever had, quite honestly. Because, you always think like, am I connecting with someone astrally? Am I not? You know what I'm saying? Well, this was clearly showing me, okay, no, this is a prime example of what that looks like. And so I had, and then the brother who clearly had some backup, because the guy has reptilian energy. His brother has reptilian energy, only it was like lower level shit. And so we get surrounded in this astral space by a group of them. And his brother is getting mad at me. He's like, you let him into my space like this. And I'm like, I didn't know he was going to do that. I didn't know he was going to do that. And his brother is just he's holding him. He's like choking him. And I was like, he's like, I'm going to transmute all the negativity in him and all this type of stuff. And I was like, okay. I'm like, but like I said, he's getting mad. They're getting mad at me that I opened up this portal. It's like they noted it. They all noted that I opened up this space for him to come in there and to fuck around in there. I was like, I thought we were just here to ask a few questions. Eventually, he lets his brother go. We all pull back. I've closed down the space. I'm like, okay. Yes, Uncle Creepy. Wow is the right word for it. So this is one of the ways in which I know that this is how the astral world presents itself to me. This is how thought forms present itself to me. Okay, this is one of the ways in which I know that these things are real. Okay, I'm trying to figure that out. So there's another one. There's another time. Okay, and the other tip I want to say real quick, just for anyone who is curious or wants to know. Okay, from the research I have been doing, when it comes to protecting yourself from negative egregores or negative entities and beings of that nature. Okay, the biggest thing that you can do to protect yourselves is to be in a high vibrational emotional state. It goes back to the states of consciousness again. That when it comes to manifesting, it's important to be in that higher state of consciousness as much as possible. When it comes to protecting yourself and shielding yourself from these negative things and like getting in and like feeding off of you emotionally, you have to try and stay as high vibe as possible. And it's not, I know it, again, it's one of those things where it's like easier said than done. I get it. But with enough practice and work and determination, you can get really good at it. You can get better at it. You can create a baseline for yourself. And that is, like I said, that is what I had created for myself for many years. I was able to maintain this baseline of love to where I really wasn't bothered much about what anyone else thought. Even if I shared my story with them, even if they thought it was crazy, it like nothing really got to me, because it was like, I'm connected to God and I'm feeling love and I love myself and I love my experiences. And if that's the thing, an egregore, especially negative ones that are going to feed off of you, they cannot exist at those higher states of consciousness. In fact, it's like you'll start to feed off of them if you are in these higher states of consciousness and they try to get at you. So just keep that in mind. Like that is a real good reason as to why they would want to keep all of humanity in the consciousness of it at these lower levels. Because it's like, even like people might even think it's just their own negative self-talk. It's not always that. It's like, maybe it might start with something like a hole in your aura, right? Where from the negativity, and then suddenly you got all like 20 different thoughts coming in you, like you're just like garbage, whatever, blah, 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 blah. or maybe it could be a regular person just having a negative thought about you and sending it to you, and it's getting stuck in your field. Your thoughts matter. Your actions, your feelings, they matter. They're important. We are creator beings. We have to take responsibility for how powerful we really are. We are powerful beings, and we should not be afraid of that power, in my opinion. We should never be afraid of that power. Like, I refuse. And conquering your fears, very, very important. Numero uno, I would have to say, of importance level. I think even conquering your fears can be that stepping stone for getting you into those higher vibrational states, especially, like Draco reptilian hybrid, the royal draconian reptilian hybrids and stuff like that actually have integrity and all of those other commendable aspects of themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that is one of the big ones, is conquer your fear. Don't be afraid of power. It's like, maintain your integrity, things of that nature. And I am definitely here to promote that, considering my soul braid walk-in was one of those. Okay. So let me get back on track with what we were talking about. So to protect yourself from that, you really do need to find a way to create a baseline for yourself, a baseline of a positive emotion that you can feel about yourself, and you can shut out those negative ones that come at you, because you need to take all the energy that you have, and you need to harness that to focus it like a laser beam on the thing that you want to manifest. That is what we're trying to do. And if we do small things, personal things for us, and we climb out of those holes, okay, then we can focus on the bigger things, because then we open ourselves up to the belief, and we break those chains, the belief that it's possible to have more an effect on a greater level of human consciousness. Okay. So I'm just going to tell you, okay, another example of how I experience. Actually, I have two examples that are different. There are different, very different types of things. So, because really I was encouraged through Anthony on Canadian Awareness and a lot of his videos and stuff. It's like, just be bold, just be brave, and say things to people. Like, say what you want to say. Say what you honestly in your heart. Do you know how many people just hold back what they're really thinking and feeling? Stop being afraid. Stop being afraid. Anyway, so how do I even start this? I got a text message one time from this friend that I had met years back at a conference. He was a male friend. And he messaged me. We rarely ever talked, but he'd messaged me for something. I wasn't really sure what. And so I kind of tapped into it. And I wrote him back, and I was just like, hi or whatever. But I kind of tapped into it to see what it was. And I got these images. Like, I was getting a lot of images. I was like, where is all this coming from? Because again, I have a baseline established. So when something that is not like that baseline, it stands out to me, right? It's going to stand out. If you're used to feeling and thinking about certain things in one certain way, then when something different from that comes around, it's going to stand out. You're going to notice it. But I didn't know for sure. I'm still kind of in the wondering, well, is this astral stuff real? Am I really picking up on people's thoughts and feelings? I'm not really sure. And so finally I just said, fuck it. You know what? I'm just going to ask him. I'm just going to ask him if what I'm saying is true. So these images were coming up. So finally I said to him, I said, hey, I forget what it was he was even writing me about too. It wasn't something very important, but I just said to him, I said, hey, do you mind if I ask you something? And he was like, I said, it's going to be kind of weird and completely out of left field. And he was like, okay. And I said, but I'm having these really intense visions about me, you, and your girlfriend together. I was like, care to explain that? Care to explain that, buddy? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's that about? And he's like, oh my God. Oh my God. He's like, well, and he got a little nervous, a little shy. And he was like, well, as it so happens, me and my girlfriend were talking the other day, and we were talking about if we were going to choose someone in the community to become a throuple with, we agreed it would be you. And I was like, oh my God, like, that's a, wow, like, that's a compliment, right? Like, that's a compliment. I was like, well, thank you. I don't really know what else I'm supposed to say to this. It's not like I'm going to jump into it, because I don't really do that type of thing. And I was like, well, it's an honor, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay. But I couldn't stop there. No, I had to know. I said, okay. I said, for research purposes, do you mind if I describe to you the visions that I saw? Can I describe to you the location, the clothes, whatever? Like, can I describe? And you can tell me how close am I getting? Because I need to know. I'm like, where are these thoughts? Are these my thoughts? Are your thoughts? I need to fucking know. So he's like, okay, go ahead. So I did. I described to him exactly what it was. I know thoughts are always messy as fuck, Miss White Sun said. Exactly. So I basically described to him exactly what I was seeing and stuff. And he was like, yeah. He's like, you basically described my apartment. You described what I was thinking. Like, you basically, you nailed it. And I was like, okay. All right then. So it's like, how does that exactly work? So people, like, again, if you do a lot of silent meditation, if you have a baseline established and these things come out, now I just got into the habit. Now it's like, if I feel like something like that is coming through on someone that I can actually communicate with, I will just go ahead and call them out on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it happens in different ways now too. I'll tell you what, because that was just visions, but I've had experiences a lot where I'll be sitting there. This one was yours. And I'll feel this, like, it happens pretty much the same way every time. It's like this energy band or cord wraps around you and it starts to pull. Okay. This is why I was like, no kids listening, right? So anyway, this energy, it'll pull from my center and it'll try to, like, lock in somewhere. And so when that's happened now, it will create that sexual feeling. You know what I'm saying? It will create that sexual arousal. And so I'll basically be like, who is this? You know what I'm saying? For the most part, like, who is this? And I'll tell you the truth. A lot of times it was my ex. It was Sarah's, my daughter's father. I don't want none of you guys know who that is. But anyway, so I would just text him. I just be like, hey, what are you thinking about? What are you doing? What are you doing, guy? And he'd be like, oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just thinking about you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I could tell. I know. It doesn't always happen like that, but most of the time that is how it comes through. So, but there's even more. So recently, actually, this was a recent experience. I thought this one was very, very, very strange. So I was driving like I normally do for DoorDash. And this has happened a handful of times, a very small handful of times. And it happened the majority of the times beforehand, like during the year where I had decided, like, I'm done with all this spiritual stuff. I'm not I'm not talking to my guides anymore. I'm like I'd gotten evicted from my house in my dream home. I was like, I'm done with it. And this had happened a couple times. Because again, if I'm driving, I'm basically in this kind of meditative zone or space. So what happened a few weeks ago now is I was driving. Okay. And I felt this sexual energy come upon me. And I was like, what, again, I'm like trying to figure out, I'm driving. I'm like, what the hell is this? What is going on? And I'm like, I'm in the middle of driving. Like, I can't get all into this experience like this. Like, what is going on? But it literally, like, kept coming at me until eventually I gave in and straight up had an orgasm as I'm driving. What the fuck is that? What the fuck was that? I'm like, is that what astral sex is? Like, what was that? Because it felt different though. The energy felt different because it felt like, okay, you know how when you actually have an orgasm and you get all relaxed and like kind of tired and stuff afterward, right? Well, it felt like that, like a very relaxed feeling afterward. But it doesn't always, like, astral sex and stuff doesn't always feel like that. It doesn't always leave me afterward with that type of almost like an energy got taken from me. And so I was sitting there and I was thinking to myself, I'm thinking of God, and I was like, I'm talking to my guys. I was like, what the fuck was that? And in the license plate in front of me, it said Vamps. Vamps? I'm like, was that a fucking vampire? I'm like, is that what that is? Sometimes a vampire gets in here and just like sneaks in and can just do something like that. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I mean, it wasn't the worst feeling, I'll tell you. It wasn't the worst feeling, but the craziest part was that happened to be the chapter in the book that Matthew Mornian was going over in his whole chapter about vampires, which, let me tell you, was an amazing chapter to hear. You know what I'm saying? It was an amazing chapter. And so I thought to myself, how strange is that he reads this chapter that week, but right, like, before that, I have this experience and it says vamps in front of me. And so now I'm like, okay, another category of how human beings can use their sexual energy here and how it can be used, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Because it's only, like I said, it was literally, I can count on one hand how many times that has happened where it's actually felt like a drain like that on me. So, and I know I'm not the only one, because I talked to some of my girlfriends afterward and I described it and I was like, what the fuck? And they were like, I've experienced something like that too. And I'm just like, what is going on here? You know, and I do know that that's the one other thing I do want to mention real quick too. That when you are connecting with other people in that way, that people who practice like Falun Dafa or Qigong, I have noticed people who do a lot of meditative stuff like that on the energy body, work on that, they come through clearer and more easily than, let's say, someone who is, because, you know, a lot of times, like, I'll just be real with you guys, like, a lot of times guys will come through and they'll be like, oh yeah, I thought about you or whatever, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't believe you. I don't believe you did. In fact, I think you were probably using some type of pornographic material and you're connecting, honestly, to that pornography site or whatever, and you're basically giving your energy to that pornography site. You're not giving it to me. If you're going, like, pornography is portals, and I've described this one before. In fact, that was the one that the first time that I ever got into stuff about sexuality was when I described the fact that, I don't even know how many years ago that was at this point, way back in the day, that when I still used to watch pornography, that I actually had it looked like a hungry ghost or some type of being that literally took my orgasm energy before I could even finish experiencing it myself. And I was like super fucking pissed about it. And I was like, and I like looked with my mind's eye to see what it looked like. And it looked just like a decrepit, disgusting being and creature. And that's when I realized that that pornography in places like even this is opening up a portal. This is opening up a space, you know? So, okay. Anyway, let's read some of the comments real quick. I'm just trying to help you guys to discern what's what. Yeah, I love driving too. Yeah. Yeah. All right, hold on. White Swan's got something really interesting to say here. Okay, she says, there is a kind of implant that can create spontaneous orgasm for harvesting. Been there, done that, and got rid of it. Okay. Was it something? Okay, well, now I have more questions for you, because I'm like, because I know we did a lot of work together when it came to healings and implant removals and J-seal removals and all that type of stuff in the Earthstar Academy, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, when was this for you? And was it a regular type of occurrence? You know what I'm saying? Like, what, like, where is that coming from? You know, and then I thought to myself, even, you know what I thought? This was crazy. I thought to myself, is this like a Twilight experience here I was like having here with the vamps? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that what's going on? Because I realized that all the Muse songs that I was listening to were all from the movie, which Spirit Talks to Me Through Movies was all from the movie. Muse did these songs for Twilight the movie. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm like, okay, well then if there are such things as vampires that can do this type of stuff, like, are there ones that do this type of thing like ethically, like the ones that were in the movie Twilight, where he had a family where they were like, we're not going to feed off of humans like that. We're going to find a different way to do it. But then there are other, like, just like good and bad everything. Right? I don't know. It got my mind, it got the wheels turning. You know, it got the wheels turning. I'll just say that. Okay, so I'm glad that I could share it with you. So I'm glad you could share it with us, Selena. I'm glad. Okay. Oh, okay. Very interesting. Oh, so it happened to you too, Helen said. I knew I wasn't alone. I knew I wasn't alone in this. I'm just a magical girl trying to figure out this crazy fucking world that we live in and bring it to you guys so that we can all know whose is what and what's is what. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to figure that out. Okay. Oh, shit. Okay, so Miss White Swan had a follow-up. And she said, I hope you don't mind me reading this. She said, I actually had it for years, like back to my teens. It would come and go in waves. It was a fourth density implant. I removed it on my own via, not via Earthstar Academy. Okay, wow, that is very interesting. Okay. You got laughed at when you told Z about it? Really? Why? Oh, Victor, wait. Oh, I'm so sorry, Victor. Everyone send Victor some positive healing energy. God, please help him. Your tummy is so picky. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's all right. We got some mods here. Catch up later on. Okay. You know, I'm surprised that she laughed at you about that, considering how she is about. I mean, wasn't she the one that was saying that when she gets in her creative flow, she gets wet for God, right? Oh, what she can't handle hearing about a sexual implant that could cause orgasm harvesting. Is that what you were saying, basically? Okay, so Miss White Swan says, I was able to get a full diagram with clarity on what it was by utilizing the luminal space between sleep and waking time. Absolutely beautiful. We're gonna, yeah. You had to leave too, Geraldine? Girl, you know we done been left. Something happened where I just like literally couldn't go to it anymore. I don't know with and you kind of got to pay attention to stuff like that when you just naturally start to be repelled from a certain place or certain energies. You know, there's something else going on there. I mean, I always wish her well. She was literally the person I made one of my biggest heart wishes for, and I do think it helped. And, you know, God bless her. God bless her family. I hope she is fulfilling her mission the way she came here and wanted to fulfill it. I just know that my mission is completely different from hers. And I think that my mission more involves timelines, timeline correction, helping people manifest different timelines for themselves. Learning how to get into those higher states of consciousness so that way, and coming up with what it is exactly you want. Like, I don't know. That's what I feel like one of my main missions here is to not only figure it out by doing it, you know, by being the example and then showing people, okay, look at this is how I did it. And this is how you can do it. And so this is one of the things that I've been working on and doing experiments on for years, is trying to figure out who's thinking what and what, especially when I was not to reiterate this, but, you know, especially when I was going through those states where I was menopausal or whatnot. And I just didn't, it was very, okay, like I said, I created a baseline. It was very easy for me to tell when sexual energy was coming into my field, you know, because it wasn't something I was naturally experiencing on a regular basis, my own. It just wasn't the thing for years, you know what I'm saying? And, I mean, it still really isn't. I mean, it's not like I have an issue with it. I can stimulate that, I guess, if I want, but it's just not something that I'm regularly in the state of, you know. Oh, good grand evening, James Wilkes. Oh, you just missed the good stuff. You're going to have to go back. Okay, so White Swan, just a last little follow-up here, guys. And then we will, I think I went over everything that I wanted to go over for the most part. I did make a few tiny little notes just to make sure I didn't forget. But so let's do the follow-up here. She says, yeah, it was years ago when I told her, so I let it go. I just found it fascinating and knew I'd been harvested for so long via spontaneous orgasms in that way. That's so crazy. I thought it was normal because I was so young and it started. Wow. So young when it started. That is fascinating. That is very fascinating. Yeah, no, wow. And it would leave you drained afterward, kind of like the whole vampiric experience, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Is that what you're saying? Clearly if they're harvesting energy, they're going to feel that way about it afterward. Because it's almost like, how would you tell the difference between just having a regular orgasm, and just the release of that, and something outside of you actually taking the energy from you? You know, like, I want to be able to figure out how to help people identify that. Mm-hmm. Oh, she would feel, okay, you would feel robbed. She said she would feel robbed afterward. Okay. Okay. Did I feel that way afterward? It did actually feel that way. Now that you say that word, it did actually feel that way. It felt like I was robbed. Yeah. It felt like something got taken. It did. It felt like the energy from the orgasm got taken, but it felt even more. It didn't leave me with a bad feeling, though, is the thing. It didn't leave me feeling with like a bad feeling, like with the hungry ghost like entity that was in the pornography portal, I guess you could say. Like that one, it was like it just like that, and it left me with nothing feeling good afterward. Like no good feeling afterward. No relaxation, no nothing. It just took it. Wow. Of course, it pulled you into a detective style, of course, because that's what we're meant to do. We're meant to be little detectives, little researchers. Okay. I love you, Sandy. Okay. So unless anyone else has any other comments to say about this is the best information I got for you so far when it comes to identifying different thought forms. The biggest one, like I said, the biggest tip that I can give you guys is really trying to get a hold of yourself, and creating a baseline for yourself of what you want to be thinking about and what you want to be feeling. And especially if you're going to be trying to manifest something, a specific DCA, direct chief aim, you're going to want to make that the thing you try to think about the most. Okay, you want that thing, because energy flows where attention goes, right? So where you're giving that attention, okay. I know there's a little bit more, but we're not talking about all that. Why? Okay, I'll wait for people if they want to say something in the chat about any of that stuff. But until then, how about we go ahead and start the fortune cookie and the tarot card spread, because I promised my daughter I'd be short, but I knew it was going to at least be like 2 hours, hour and a half. Okay. Oh, poor Victor. I feel bad for him. Oh, it just occurred to me. Oh, I feel bad for Victor. So here's the thing, guys. We have one fortune cookie left in the bag I had, and then we have a whole new bag of fortune cookies. I'm asking you guys, should we just open the last fortune cookie that was in the last bag, or should we throw this one into this bag and just randomly pull one? What do you guys think? What do you think? Just open this one, or put it in the bag and pull from the bag? Which one? Yes, the last one. Just do the last one. Oh my God, we got to mix them up. We got yes to the last. All right, we need a tiebreaker. Last one open. Okay, James was the tiebreaker. Take the last one. Sorry, Uncle Creepy. Sorry, Crispy. Sorry, Crispy. Okay, so yes, I'm doing my magical girl thing. Okay, magical girl energy going into this. What does the collective need to hear? What do we need to hear? Okay, do the fortune cookie. Okay, let's see. Be open to feedback. It's a path to improvement. Be open to feedback. It's a path to improvement. You're going to go cry? I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry. Giving you a hug. There we go. I'm such a dork. Oh, yes. Be open to feedback. That is a very interesting one, considering be open to feedback. It is a path to improvement. And last week we had a sense of gratitude will fill your heart later today. And it did. So I got to be open to feedback, guys. It'll lead to improvement. So yeah, I guess if anyone wants to, oh yeah, that guy on my fucking Facebook that pissed me off I hope that wasn't that was not me not being open to feedback. This guy was like literally telling me what I should not and should do when it came to speaking about the files. And I was like, do not tell me what to do, and I will not tell you what to do. So it is. Oh, thank you, Kay. Oh, I appreciate that. I hope you guys found this interesting. It was so hard for me not to put like some of the, like I said, the spicy details of what I was going to be talking about, because I wanted people to know, because I know there's no way they're not curious. You know what I'm saying? There's no way people aren't curious. People, I mean, even from that NDE that I talked about, that I watched today, it's like in those higher dimensions, we exist in a cosmic state, orgasmic state, is what the guy was basically saying. So, and I already know that sexual energy is God energy channeled into the lower chakra, but it can become corrupted and inverted, which I feel like that's when it turns to lust instead of passion. Okay. And so I know that that is part of, creative energy, is that sexual feeling. And so you should be able to generate that feeling. In fact, not being able to generate that feeling at all, I would say would speak on something to do with your sacral chakra and your root chakra. More so the sacral, I'm thinking, though. Correct me if anyone out there that knows energy body, if that sounds about right. If it's not right, I mean, go ahead and correct me, because I'm open to feedback. Okay. So let's go ahead and where's my cards? Oh, here they are. I found them. We got them. So, all right. Protect it, people. It's not worth giving away or being reckless with it. That is true. She's talking about sexual energy. Protect your sexual energy. Z. Making me remember her. I was so jealous when she was like, yeah, when I get my creative energy, I get wet. I get turned on. And I was like, that's not fucking fair. I was like, I want to know what that feels like. And now I do. Because it is true. It does feel that way. When you get really into the creative flow, it feels like an excitement in that way, So I'm like, okay. So I know it's a sign whenever I am really creative that it's like, oh, I'm on the right path. I'm in my creation mode. See? Well, we're sending thought forms out to her right now. So just so you know, we should make sure they're good. Just even if, okay, like we have to remember now, our thoughts are things, and they're going out there to people. So I'm like, does this mean I have to forgive those other people that hurt me and pissed me? I'm like, I'm not fucking ready. Yeah. I know they must be thinking about me, because they kept showing up and popping up, people like talking about the girl that made that Facebook post about me. But let's not get that mixed into the tarot energies. In fact, let's completely clear out everything that we just talked about. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just going to take a few deep breaths. Feel free to take a few deep breaths with me. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. Hold it. Release it. Everyone get in alignment with me, because we're about to pull the collective tarot card pull. One more time. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. Hold it. And breathe out. That's very interesting. Wow. Okay, so I can feel a difference. Feels like you guys did do that with me. Some of you guys did that with me, and it I felt this change right here in this spot. I don't know how else to put it. It's like things got quieter and more settled. It's like let's say there's a party going on, okay, and then like the person with the microphone gets the attention, everyone stops and turns to them for a minute. Like that's what it felt like. Okay, so let's go ahead. In the name of the Lord, for the creator of love and light, I humbly request that you do assist me in pulling these Tarot cards for the collective. For all the people that are here now and in the future watching, what would Spirit like them to know? Let them know how to relate to it in their own way. Okay, and let it be helpful in guiding them on their path forward for their soul's growth and expansion. What message do they need to hear? All right, very good. Okay. Yes. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go, guys. It's time for the good stuff. Okay. So, what is it that does not get this to go? 1, 2, and 3. Okay, ready? 1, 2, and 3. Expand upon that message. Very interesting. Okay. Expand upon this message one more time. 1, 2, and 3. Interesting. Okay. All right. So the first card we got for everyone here. I don't know if y'all feeling a little bit stubborn or stuck, but we got the King of Pentacles. And so as you can see, this guy has a big old pentacle around his heart chakra. So this could mean that you need to do possible clearing around your heart chakra, your heart space. Okay, I love that he's got the bull behind him. Okay, so it's like, it's inspiring me to say, it's like, don't be afraid to take the bull by the horns, so to speak, you know, like, and take control of what it is that you want going forward from here. Okay, let me see. So the King of Pentacles is also a guy who, I mean, he's very slow to act, he's slow to move because he's earth energy. All right, he very much would like and prefer for people to come to his place and come to his space rather than going out to the party, so to speak. Okay, that's very much King of Pentacles energy. He's the type of guy, he can be very generous. He usually has things stable and grounded as far as his finances and stuff go. Okay, but that doesn't necessarily have to be true. Hold on. So yeah, he's very much like the guy who he can be very generous. It's possible he can be very generous. Okay. So this guy is coming forward. This could be your energy. This could be someone outside of you, perhaps, that they are in your awareness, and maybe they are being a little stubborn, right? Being a little stuck, and they're not wanting to come your way on something. You know what I'm saying? But it's okay. Even if they come your way or they don't, it does not even really matter at this point because justice is about to be served. Okay, so what's done is done, for better or for worse. The karmic scales are tipping to rebalance. And, you know, especially in regards to manifestation, since I've been talking about manifesting a lot lately, I've been talking about like when you make big changes, so to speak, and you try to take a step up, let's say in a higher timeline, well, those scales will tip, and then all the things, like the scales have to be rebalanced, so chaos can kind of ensue because there's a bunch of things that need to be taken out of your life in order for those scales to be rebalanced. Well, that time is now. So that is going to happen. So let's say there's been some injustice or some unfairness done to you, maybe in regards to the King of Pentacles, or maybe in regards to you being the King of Pentacles, you know, and it's about to change. So it really depends. Like the outcome of it is going to depend on, have you held true to your integrity, right? Have you held true to yourself? There could be some long-standing karmic history going back here with this, I feel like. Okay, so this could be coming from even things far longer ago than you even realize, and it's finally doing this karmic rebalancing and justice. But either way, justice is being served. That sword is going, once it's done, it's done. It already has been. It's like it's happened. Okay, the justice has now been served. So whatever position you're in right now, like that is the way that was the rebalancing of swords. And so now what do we do next? Well, now we need to take a break. We need to take a little rest. We need to stop thinking about it. We need to put it aside for a minute, you know, because nothing's going to change it. Nothing's going to, like, justice card is it's final. It's a final ruling on something, right? So it's like, okay, so like an example with what I was just saying with the manifesting, right? And so you've made that change. You've decided, okay, I'm going to go to this higher timeline, and so therefore all these things had to come out of the life in order for you to get onto that higher timeline. And it's like maybe some part of you is like, no, I want to go back to that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I missed that part of it. Like, okay, like for instance, like let's say like with my ex, you know what I'm saying? Like for a second there, like until I read that letter last week, until I read some of that letter, which I still haven't gone back to it. My ex that wrote me, okay, I still haven't even gone back because I'm like, why? What's the point? What's done is done at this point. At this point, like I'm just going to give it a rest. There is no going back to that. And I asked for a higher timeline, and I asked God to break the cycle, right? I asked God to help me break the toxic cycle that I was continuing with him, which was just like all the other previous relationships. There was like a similarity in them, right? And I was like, no, I'm done doing that part. Okay, so similarly, if you have been going through this shift and trying to get into a better place and trying to increase your state of consciousness, and you're just feeling like, oh my God, first of all, if that is happening, you could have an energetic anchor on you. They're just telling me to say that. For those of you that are trying to make that shift, but something is just not feeling right and it's not happening for you, you need to check to see if there's any energetic anchors upon you. Okay, which those are basically these core beliefs that are in your subconscious that you're not even aware of until you stop to take a look. So that would be another good reason as to why we need this Four of Swords, which this is not forever. This is not a forever experience right here when it comes to this. It's like you don't have to be silent or be quiet forever, but just for a moment, for a time. Like put all of the words down, put all of the thoughts down, do some silent meditation. Okay? Do some silent meditation. So that way your own guides and God can come through in a better way. And to help you figure out, especially if we're talking about energetic anchors, where those might be. And lastly, for the hidden energies, and again, I feel like this is really going back to that Four of Swords, telling you to like take a break from everything, because we got the Eight of Swords as the hidden energies. Okay, so the hidden energies, the Eight of Swords, it's like clearly you can see that this person is bound. Why did I have to look at that? Not even gonna say it. But anyway, so the Eight of Swords, this person is like they're bound and they're blindfolded. Okay, so they do not have all the information yet, and their mind is just full of all these ideals and all these thoughts, but there's still something that they're lacking that they haven't quite figured out yet. Okay, it's because they don't know which idea or which sword it is that they need to cut themselves free, but maybe they need some more assistance. Maybe the thing that they're going to need to do is take this break and take this meditation, so that way they can figure out what the next move is. What would be the next move? Because basically it's like they're being prevented from saying or speaking. Okay, so like for instance, with my example that I was giving with my ex and stuff like that, it's like saying like, still don't. No, like it's not time, like when it is time, you'll know, like when you've taken that break. At least this is how I've always felt about this card. I've always felt like, it's just it's a temporary thing, because you might need a little bit of assistance in figuring out. It's like there's like all these things, like you're overthinking it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're overthinking it. You're like, should I do this? Should I do this, that, and I definitely have a tendency to do stuff like that. So yeah, I think I pray that what's the phrase? May the odds be ever in your favor. May the odds be ever in your favor. Right? Because again, thoughts are things, and so therefore we need to be aware of that, and we need to stop giving our energy and our thoughts away to things that make us feel bad, or people that have made us feel bad, or conflicts. Like, if at all possible, unless there's some reason that you're trying to make resolution with those types of people, then you don't need to be directing any more energy or focus towards those types of people and giving that energy away, because Our true mission here on this earth is to really raise ourselves up as far as timelines go. And we need every bit of energy that we can get in order to do that. And so, yeah, I guess wrapping it back around to what I first started talking about, which was the files, right? And how the collective human consciousness is basically feels like they're in a horror film. You know what I'm saying? It's like we have to find a way to lift each other out of that in some way by redirecting the focus of like, okay, but the real work isn't like, okay, you can indulge some, obviously we're all going to do it. I still watch stuff about Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk. I still watch Candace, it's like junk food though. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's okay to eat it every now and then, but if that's all your mind is consumed by, that's a problem. You need something healthy to eat every single day too, just like your mind needs something healthy to digest too. So that's why for me, I'll just give you guys an example. For me, I watch this one particular YouTuber all about manifesting and how the power of our thoughts. And like he has all these different videos that basically reiterate the same stuff, but it's like that is what we need to do if we're trying to change something. We need repetition. We need to have whatever new ideal that we're trying to digest and take in. We need that ideal repeated to us again and again and again. And that is why I'm determined to keep coming out here and telling you guys exactly again and again and again what it is that I'm doing and showing you through evidence of what is showing up in my life and how it's playing out, like with manifesting the power coming back on today. Manifestation does work. I have put 6 years or more into learning to manifest my reality. Now, obviously it's not fucking perfect, but it's so much better than where I've come from. You know what I'm saying? Like I was a drug addict, all right, years ago, like not a good mom, never left my house, no friends. I mean, my children would beg to differ on that. I already know that they loved me regardless. And I was the best mom that I could be for them at the time. But like I look at myself and I beat myself up now feeling like I could have been different and done different and should have done different. So it's like where I've come from is so starkly different than where I am now. And I know that I am not a unique case when it comes to having at least the ability to use my energy and my focus and my drive and my determination to daydream about a new life for myself. It starts with daydreaming. What makes you feel good to daydream about? That is what you believe you are, you will become, right? Well, like for example, when I used to daydream about being a midwife, and some part of me thought, well, it's not possible. Midwives aren't really around. But I used to daydream about it and I would buy books on it. And suddenly I'm like, oh, I was pregnant. And so I found a midwife. And then I started going to these birth network meetings. And then the midwife who helped me deliver my second child, she ended up pulling me aside and she said, out of all these women that come and hang around us, because there are a lot of women that are attracted to midwives and midwifery. She said, she came and she pulled me aside one time. She said, of all these women that have come around me and want to be a midwife, she said, you're the only one I could actually see really doing it. And I remember how much that meant to me. So it's like those little things, you hold on to them and it's like a seed that's been planted. But if you have too many seeds planted all at once, because you're like, oh, I want to be this, I want to be rich, I want to be in a relationship, I want to be in a new career, I want this, I want that, I want this and this. And if you're just watering all those little things one at a time, it's like those things don't happen. They blossom the more you give the energy to the one thing that you're focused on. Give it 3 to 6 months. If you do it on a daily basis and you really give it your all, you will see change. You will. You'll be able to stop and you'll notice and you'll be like, oh yeah, oh snap. Kind of like the magician card in tarot. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you're becoming the magician, you don't realize how far you've come until you stop and you look back. And you're like, wow, a year ago I was in this place. Now look at me. So I hope that helps, guys. I love you all. I see, look like Victor popped in the chat again. It passed. Oh, good. I was hoping that would help. I thought the healing energy would help. We love you, Victor. Oh, I'm so glad it resonates, Joanna. I'm so glad. Sandy, thank you for that. I love deep breathing as well. Wow, you were too, Miss White. We all were. Yes, I felt it, guys. I've not done that experiment before, but I literally could feel it. I could feel the difference. So it definitely does work. My cat's scratching at the door. I'm sure she's not the only one. I'm sure my daughter is like, Mom, I want to hang out with you, Mom. Girls' night, and then she's gonna chat, and I'm gonna be like trying to have all these other thought forms come in from all these other same people watching the stream, and I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry, Sarah, I'm just going crazy because like literally, I it's like a post-stream buzz. I swear to God, you guys know I've talked about it plenty of times. We're gonna get it today. Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, I just want to say that I appreciate everyone for coming here. If you could do me a favor on your way out and hit the thumbs up, okay, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and share it out if you haven't shared it out. And it's funny, we got 2 more people popped in here last second. Yeah. Everyone have a great weekend for sure. And remember, 4 of Swords, take a break, meditate, be quiet for a while, for just a short time, and let God talk to you. Get yourself in that higher state of consciousness. What gets you excited? Daydream about it. See, that was the issue I had with the eclipse. I didn't even know what to daydream about. It's like I've done so much things that I've wanted to do that they've happened, and so I'm like, so that's what I've been asking for. I've been asking for God, show me what it is that would even be in my best interests. What should I daydream about? What should I think about that would make me happiest? Yeah. All right. I'm leaving now, guys. I love you. Bye, guys.